I went to a healer who told me that I needed to work with the concept of being worthy. Specifically, she said, you need to tell yourself or affirm over and over again, I am worthy of Creator's love, of God's love. And so I did that. I started saying this during the day, and I'd write it every morning, and kept saying, I am worthy of Creator's love, I am worthy of God's love. And you know what? This opened like a Pandora's box for me, because I realized that I had other issues related to being worthy. And who would have thought? Because I have pretty good self-esteem. I have pretty good self-worth. I usually, would say I'm on the high end of the self-worth and self-esteem scale. Not to say that I don't ever feel, like I'm not good enough or not worthy of something. I do, but I never had thought of myself as someone with low self-worth or low self-esteem. But I definitely had low self-worth, and I started looking at my life and why I would have that. So I realized that, for instance, when I was 7 and my father died, that a 7-year-old doesn't grasp death so well, and so I really saw that my father had left me, and so I didn't feel worthy of his love. I felt like somehow I wasn't worthy of staying around, right, to continue loving me. I remember thinking, or I remember a time when, for many years, from the time I was 7 until, in my 30s or 40s, I was horseback riding. But when I was in my teens, I was competing seriously for the equitation finals that would take place at Madison Square Garden in New York, the Medal McClay finals. And so I was competing, and I was competing against people who had these enormously expensive horses. And the difference between my horse, who wasn't expensive, and theirs was clear when you were competing, because I was working really hard to get my horse to do these things, and their horses had the ability to do them easily. And so we used to call them push button horses. They would just sit there and push the buttons, and the horse went. And I was, just struggling to get my horse to do the things that we needed to do. And he was doing them, and I was doing them, but it just didn't look as easy. And so the difference was really in the type of horse and the cost of the horse. And I felt unworthy of having a horse that was this push-button expensive horse, because my mom wouldn't buy me one. And so I just felt unworthy of that, unworthy of that expense, unworthy of that kind of horse. And it made me feel unworthy as a rider as well. Later in life, when I became a step parent, I remember all the issues I had with my stepchildren, and it made me feel unworthy as a stepmother and unworthy as a wife, unworthy of love from either these kids or my husband. Later, through my writing career, there have been many times when I felt unworthy, when I got rejections from editors or publishers or agents. It made me feel unworthy as a writer, made me feel unworthy of getting published. So there have been lots of times in my life when actually I didn't feel worthy, and I've carried those forward. And I bet you have the same thing, that you've carried some of these issues from the past forward with you, and it makes you not feel worthy. Some of this, though, is internal. We internally make some decisions. We have some beliefs about ourselves that make us not feel worthy. But some of it's external, and it's like an editor telling you that they don't want your work, they don't want to publish it. That's an external judgment, really, or opinion. But we end up taking it on as our own. So, that happening doesn't mean I'm unworthy, or my ideas are unworthy, or I'm unworthy as a writer. It just means somebody rejected my work, right? But then I let that become something inside me. I take on that belief that I'm unworthy. But there are people who might outright tell you you're not worthy. You don't deserve that. Worthiness and deserving are very closely related. And they might say to you, you don't deserve that. You don't deserve that lollipop. You weren't a good little boy. You don't deserve that lollipop. Well, and then what happens is we end up feeling, you end up feeling undeserving of a treat. And so maybe you never feel deserving of gifts, or you have a hard time receiving because, allowing things in, because you don't feel worthy of having something special. You don't feel special. So we have to look at that. What's coming from inside? What's happened to us in our lives that's made us adopt a false belief that we're unworthy? Or what's come at us from outside that we've taken in that has made us feel unworthy or believe we're unworthy? And then what you need to realize is this. You came into this world perfect. Perfect in every way. Even if your body had some issues, you still came in as a perfect soul inside this body. And what that means is that you're deserving of everything, of everything. Don't let anyone tell you that you showed up here as a sinner, as imperfect, as undeserving, as unworthy, or unanything. You are perfect. You came in here perfect, and you are perfect. And the more you've allowed people to tell you that that isn't true, the more you take that on, the less worthy you feel, and the less able you are to allow in what you really want. Because you have to have a sense of worthiness in order to create what you want in this world. The only way change is going to happen is if you decide you are worthy and deserving of everything you want. And you are. Now, do you have to put forth some effort? Do you have to sometimes prove that you're worthy? Yes, you do. But I want you to have an internal knowing that no matter what, you are worthy. And this is something I'm working with because it still comes up. Something happens, I don't react well to something, I yell at my husband, I don't know, send out an email that I shouldn't have sent or something, and I end up thinking, oh, Nina, you just, who are you to think that you deserved his love? Who are you to think that, when you send that kind of an email that anybody's going to respond? Who am I to be worthy of whatever it is I'm asking for? But the fact is that, like you, I am perfect at my core. And maybe I'm a diamond in the rough. Maybe I'm still polishing the edges. Maybe I have things to learn about how to behave here in the 3D physical world that allow me to show up as my best self. Maybe I need to learn how to allow in what I want. But the more I tell myself I am worthy, it doesn't have to be I'm worthy of God's love or Creator's love. Just I am worthy. I am worthy of being published. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of the good health I want. I am worthy of being prosperous and abundant. I am worthy of having good friends. I am worthy of being happy. The more I do that, the more I allow that in. The more I can create that, the more change happens. So I want to encourage you today to work with this idea of being worthy and look at where in your life you don't feel worthy and where you do, and to tell yourself every chance you can, I am worthy. I'm worthy of everything. I don't have to hardly do anything. I'm just worthy as I am. Okay? See how that changes your results. I'm Nina Amir. I'm the Inspiration to Creation Coach. I help people go from that moment when the light bulb turns on to the actual creation of whatever it is they've dreamed of or their goals. I help you do that, to get from inspiration to actually creation of something without letting anything get in the way, including yourself. I'm a high performance coach, a certified high performance coach, and I'm also an author coach. And if you feel unworthy, I'd love to help you to work with your mindset, work with your habits to change that. I'm no therapist, right? I'm no ist of any kind. I'm not a therapist, but I believe that when you start taking inspired action, when you start applying what you're passionate about to your ideas, and you take action in the world, and you begin to feel clear and courageous and energetic and productive and influential even over yourself, your sense of self-worth will change. So if that's of interest to you, contact me. Or go to ninaamir.com/free session, and we'll spend some time on the phone together, just looking at some of these core principles that I just talked about: clarity, energy, courage, productivity, influence. And we'll see if you and I are a good fit to work together, and you'll take away some awesome tips and tools that you can put to use right away to change your life for the better. Okay? So ninaamir.com/free session. The other thing I wanted to just say to you is if you are a writer and you don't feel worthy and you're struggling to write consistently and to send your work out for that reason, please contact me. We can do high performance coaching or we can do author coaching together, but we can work together to move through that because you have a message that you want to share with the world. You want to make a positive and meaningful difference with your words, and I'd love to help you do that. So if that's the case, just go on to ninaamir.com and click through to the coaching section and click on author coaching. Or shoot me an email at nina@ninaamir.com and we can chat for 15 minutes or something and see how I can help you. That's it for today, folks. As always, go out there, combine your passion with your purpose so you get inspired and take inspired action, because that's how you're going to get inspired results. And I want you to achieve more inspired results.